people devaluing friendships today? Do friendships have less value than they ever had before? Well, according to this TikToker, they do, and she might have a point.
Helena got the juice.
Okay, I don't know if this is just being in my 20s, but I genuinely feel like nobody values friendship anymore. Like, I understand being busy, I really do. I'm busy as well, but I always make time to check in on people that I consider my friends or make plans with people I consider my friends. And it just gets tiring when that's always one sided. I also don't know if it's because I don't have a romantic partner. So it's like I don't have that one person that's always there to go to. And a lot of the people that I am friends with do have romantic partners, and that's kind of like their go to person. So it just feels like it's hard to find somebody that prioritizes friendship like I do. In the past, I've been in the relationship where I just abandon all my friends and family, and I'm making it a point to not be like that even when I do have a partner in the future. So it's just disheartening to see so many people like not prioritize me the way I prioritize them. Does that make sense?
Let me know in the comments if you experienced this, if you are in the midst of this. I myself have experienced this, and I'm going to share that a little bit later because it has a lot to do with kind of like the applicabilities to share if you're in this place. But let me know in the comments below if you can relate to a lot of what she's saying.
I don't know. It's like everybody wants this low maintenance friendship. And I'm not saying we have to talk every day by any means, but I just want the effort to be reciprocated. And it especially bothers me when people will make plans or they'll say, like, we should do this, and then it never happens. Or I try to check in and then like everything just like falls apart. And it just gets tiring trying to like reschedule and reschedule and reschedule. It's like at a certain point, this just isn't happening. So yeah, I don't know. I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, but I want to find my ride or die friends that are going to be there with me through all my seasons of life. And yeah, hopefully one day I will find those people.
Well, here's a few things to potentially keep in mind if you're in this position, because I've experienced this and this is how I was able to navigate it. So, number one, I need you to realize that relationships have seasons. People are in different phases and spaces of their life, whether it's with relationships with others, themselves. It doesn't matter. Life can get crazy. Economy's crazy. People are trying to learn how to grow and how to develop, how to find balance. There's a lot going on. And it's possible that because of the season that these people are in, they may not have the capacity to really keep up with what we may expect out of them. Maybe we have to be willing to adjust what we are able to get out of said people because of what they're having to juggle and deal with in the seasons that they're in. So maybe instead of being able to hang out every opportunity you had, it's got to be less time and maybe smaller availability due to the busyness of life. And that's something that we all have to juggle with and deal with when it comes to relationships that we create. But let's learn to just gain a perspective on where that person is in order to determine how you want to navigate it moving forward with healthy communication. Then secondly, I want you to move with leading energy and not matching energy. Okay, this is definitely a space where it's easy to reciprocate the lack of energy that's given and we start treating people how they're handling us. Okay, you don't want to respond to me, you don't want to hang with me, you want to get late to my messages, you want to do this, do that, cool. I'm going to be even later to your messages and I'm going to not even talk to you, and I'm just going to give that back. I'm going to match that energy. And I want to just help you not move in that space because that doesn't really help or solve the situation at hand, because quite frankly, you enjoy spending time with this person and you enjoy connecting with this individual. And so what actually might be more beneficial for you instead of matching that energy is by leading the way, by sending a message. Be a little direct, be gracious in your approach as always, but maybe lead with a prompt like, hey, we haven't talked in a while, or hey, we haven't hung out in a while. We haven't really been spending too much time. And I just want to get some understanding on where we are, where things went wrong. Is there any kind of miscommunication? Because I really enjoy spending time with you. I enjoy making time for you, but it just doesn't seem like it's kind of reciprocated. And I'm just wanting to know why. And give them room to be honest about where they are or what they feel, what they see, and be willing to receive and accept what they share, and then base your decision off of that. Having this conversation is extremely important because sometimes we move forward from relationships and friendships too fast because we misinterpret the season that that person is in. And then we furthermore just move by assumptions, thinking something that actually isn't there. That one conversation could easily bring about so much clarity and solve all of that for us. But then thirdly, I also want to bring to your attention something that was really helpful for me as I went through a similar season. If you have to ask this person why they aren't in your life. Chances are they aren't supposed to be in your life. If this person is supposed to be in my life, then they can't leave my life. And if this person isn't supposed to be in my life, then they'll find a way out of it. This was something that I really had to digest, and I really had to grasp myself as I was navigating through relationships, because much like this young lady here, I too felt I was putting a lot of energy that wasn't given back. I was reaching out to people, being the first to reach out, and noticing that when I reached out or when I stopped reaching out, it stopped coming back. People stopped caring. People stopped, doing those things. And so it was hurtful, really, really mind boggling to me in that season. But hearing things like this really gave room for hope that I would find the right relationships that would give what I'm giving, but also be willing to navigate and move forward from these relationships. Because oftentimes I used to think that maybe there was something more I could do, when in reality, it just may be that the relationship is no longer suitable for the season you're in, or maybe for where you're going, and that the season of that relationship is up. And this doesn't make them a bad person. It just means that we need to move forward with more relationships that are going to make room for us and propel us to where we're supposed to be. Which leads me to the last point I want to make to you, is to simply trust God with your relationships. There's a lot of times where we're watching the door and we're paying attention to who's coming in and who's coming out of our lives. And ultimately, we try to keep control over the relationships that we have, and keeping certain people in our lives longer than they need to be, and maybe excusing people out of our lives sooner than they should be. And ultimately, I just want to encourage you to trust God with your relationships, because your purpose, your direction, your vision, where you're going also requires people that you need in your life in order to cultivate to get there. And God knows the type of people you need, the friendships you need, and He has a way of placing you in the right environments, in the right positions, to make room for the right relationships to get to where you're going. And here's a few scriptures to keep in mind as you navigate through this process. Psalm 27:10, though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. And of course, this is speaking of parental relationships, but I think this can also be implied. A truth can be implied here to other relationships as well, that even though you may feel forsaken, abandoned, and people are no longer where you wanted them to be or where you hope for them to be due to the relationship that you cultivated with them over time, the Lord will always receive you. You're always wanted and desired in His presence, and He is a friend that is born for times of adversity. Another text that implies this message is Matthew 6, verse 33, which Jesus encourages His disciples here. But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And of course, He's speaking of food, clothing, and water, and all these essentials that the physical body needs in order to move forward. But Jesus also just simply implies here to seek the kingdom, right? So your desire for friendship, your desire for relationship, your desire for genuine connection with people who will not water down the friendship, but will invest and pour into the relationship just as you are, is not a wrong desire. It is a desire that God pays attention to. And when we seek His kingdom first, He has a way of bringing those people into your life for exactly the seasons and time and needs that you have. Listen, I am a living testimony of this. Once I moved from those relationships that I was trying so hard to fight and trying so hard to bring into my life, when I finally let go of that, God had a way of putting the right relationships that I have to this day in my life, that have enriched me, that have poured in so much value into me, and being able to reciprocate the love and time and energy that has been poured into me to them, because these were the relationships that I was praying for this entire time, not even realizing it. And it was me trying to hold on to those old relationships that were keeping the right people I needed from entering into my life even sooner. And so that's something I want you to consider. Continue seeking after God, making time for God, getting into God's face, because He will bring the right people you need in your life. And of course, this takes us meeting people. This takes us engaging with people. This takes us encountering and creating friendships and being friendly and not closing that off. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. And so listen, again, I understand that that is a huge desire. She's not alone. It's not because you're in your 20s. It is simply because, yes, people don't value friendships the same anymore. That is very, very true. And we also, as people who desire to create those long term relationships with others, want to get into a place where we understand the seasons people are in. And we definitely want to step out of areas of selfishness in some way and really be willing to just get an understanding on where people are in order to manage our expectations and in order to love properly and with an open hand. All of that description causes us to be patient, be kind, to be compassionate, and to really engage in honest relationships with other people, not putting ourselves first, but looking at what people are going through, where they're at, and meeting them where they are in order to create genuine relationships with them. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, and share this with a friend who you think could use some encouragement and message such as this. And I appreciate you guys. And until our next conversation, be easy and be breezy, my friend. Hey, peace.